Welcome to another episode of Tapped In with Tony. We are at episode number 6, and tonight we've got a special guest for you. Here we will be talking with Lowellville grad Austin Malutic, the founder of Malutic Live. Austin, welcome to the program tonight.
Tony, I appreciate you allowing me to come on this evening.
Yep, man. You've been doing a lot of fun stuff out there and out in the valley. You guys cover a lot of games and been seeing the work ever since 2020. You guys been doing really well with it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. 57 high school basketball teams, 52 high school football teams, and then 2 colleges at the end of the day. So it's a lot.
Wow. And you guys definitely work your tails off, man. And that's really great to see.
I actually just looked at January's schedule, like January, end of January, middle of February, and there's like 4 Sundays in a row that I'll work, and I normally never work on Sundays. So it's gonna be 7 days for the next couple of weeks because a lot of things happening. So,
wow. And you guys cover with all that. You cover basketball, football, and you guys also cover baseball too. I've seen you guys cover baseball. What else do you guys cover as well?
so we have softball as well. Starting next year, actually, we're going to start doing some bowling. We're trying to get some more golf in, maybe not the high school level, but just out and about, people golfing or golf outings in general. So that's something that's on our horizon that we've been talking about. But something we really want to do is do bowling because I actually am a big bowler myself. I'm not a bad bowler, so that's something I loved. I actually bowled in high school at Lowell, so that's something that we've been talking about and trying to gather up who all has bowling in the area and then go from there. So hopefully we start that next year.
Gotcha. And I noticed this past year you added when I went on your show to talk high school football to start the year. I noticed you guys added Southeast High School. That's about 15 minutes from me in Ravenna. You added Southeast High School to the coverage area.
Yeah, so this past year we've added Southeast, Garrettsburg Garfield, Maplewood, and Wyndham. So all 4 of those schools we just added. So they've all been nice to us. Meeting a lot of new people. Meeting, obviously Garrettsburg Garfield has a lot of different reporters up that way that we don't see much. So just getting to meet and building friendships with these people, fans, players, coaches, and even media members it's a once in a lifetime experience.
Nice. Gotcha. And what I want to ask you this is, how did Malutic Live get its start? I know you said you went to Lowellville High School. What other sports did you participate in besides bowling?
So besides bowling, basketball, baseball was the main sports that I played in. My senior year, you're actually high school, you're only allowed to do either basketball or bowling. But in a small school like Louisville, they allowed you to do both. But come senior year, there was a lot going on. Plus, Louisville basketball asked me to broadcast their games live. Because I started Malutic Live my senior year at high school. And our producer that's still with us right now, Jay Higgs, not in tonight, but he was my main guy back then when we started this back in 2017, 2018. So he was on board with us. We came in and we just wanted to start doing games live. Our first game we did live was Louisville at Western Reserve. At Louisville, I should say, against Western Reserve. Louisville was down 32 at halftime, came back and won that game. And the audience that we brought in, the people that watched our show, was just unbelievable. We had probably over 27,000 people watch the game. Wow. Not at once, but after a week looking back and seeing how many people watched that was unbelievable. So that's what really made us want to get into things. And these kids, these student athletes, these coaches don't get enough credit in this area that they should. So that's what made us really wanted to come out and shine the spotlight on these kids, because we saw it in Louisville. Being a small school, you don't get that much media coverage there, and you always see Austin Fitch, you always see Ursula on the news, but you don't see these smaller schools. Look at Badger right now in boys basketball. They're really good. Matthews is really good, and you just don't see that much advertised on the news or in the paper anymore these days. So I'm really glad that we're able to bring everyone coverage every night.
I agree with that, especially also Louisville had a great year in football with I'm blanking on his name, Vinny Balone. Vinny Balone had a great
Yeah.
year in football, and is having a great year in basketball. The rise of Warren JFK when they won the baseball state championship in 21, and also Matthews with Bill Bourne, who retired recently, led them to the Matthews to the playoffs. So there's a lot of definitely watch out for those small schools as well, because there are a lot of hidden, there's a lot of hidden talent up there that a lot of people don't see, and especially with South Range too. South Range winning state championships in baseball and in football.
Absolutely. And how about the boys basketball team? They let go of their head coach a couple weeks ago, and they won 6 out of the last 7 games. They just got a big win over Struthers last night. So, I mean, that boys basketball team is definitely improving as well.
Absolutely. And what would you say when you first started out Malutic Live with yourself and Jay? When you expanded, what was your first expansion, and how did that come to fruition when you're saying, "Oh, we're gonna go out to this football game. We're gonna go cover
Yeah.
these games."
So, how we started it, Tony, was back then, before our senior year, it was called Scarlet Division for Louisville, Mineral Ridge, McDonald. Now it's changed to Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. But back then, when it was Scarlet, um, we just covered just that league, just that conference. So we covered probably 7, 8 schools, and that was it. And then, just once I graduated, I just had that kind of mindset. Oh, hey, the Jack Smolton old AD, he's now at Hubbard. He wants us to come. So now Hubbard sees us. The whole conference wants to see us. And then just school by school picked up. And
Ooh.
one Scares for Garford joined the conference in the MBAC. We had a choice to say yes or no, but I mean, the talent they have up there in Garfield, whether it's football, boys or girls basketball, or softball or baseball, they're loaded. And their girls basketball program lost 4 starters last year, and everyone thought they were going to be a down year. Well, right now they're tied for first place in that conference with 4 new starters and a transfer in. So just, I don't know, just day by day, picking up different schools and just meeting new people and meeting similar faces, and just the communications, Tony, I felt like helped us pick up more and more schools as we go.
Yep. Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And with
Yeah,
Porch County being
absolutely.
not that far away, also quite a few small schools. Ravenna's having one of their best years in basketball in a while. Mogador is always good. Waterloo is good this
Well,
year, and Streetsboro's
I'll,
had
t- I'll tell you
success.
this. I'll tell you this story, Tony. Well, speaking on Waterloo, we used to cover them because they joined the MVAC, but just had some differences there. We dropped them actually last year, but I mean they were another team that we picked up because they joined that conference, and they welcomed us with open arms. But unfortunately, someone else in the network in the media came around and took our spots, and we were no longer able to cover them. But I mean, we picked up another school and then another school, and then
Mhm.
once you knew it, there's 52 schools, and it's going back to Southeast. Everyone's probably thinking, why Southeast? How Southeast? Well, their head basketball coach, Mike Matisse, definitely, I want to give him a big shot. He was actually my JV basketball coach in high school. So I
Wow.
knew him from high school. And when he found out that we expanded this much, he's like, dude, come to Southeast. We would love to have you. So that happened about a year and a half ago. And here we are with the Pirates.
Oh yeah, great stadium there. I've been to Southeast a couple times for games. Really great small town atmosphere. Really loves their football. And I heard you guys also expanded doing college work too, because you guys have done Youngstown State and Westminster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So that's a crazy story. We'll start with Westminster and how that all unfolded. So I guess honestly, you look at the boys basketball roster, and there is so much local talent. I think 96% of the roster has local kids in there. And just by knowing all of them, it felt like a home to us. When I walked in that when I walked in that university at the middle of July to meet the AD and to meet the coaches, it was like I was walking to a high school. at an all-star game because all the players knew me right away. And the coach is from around here. I think he lives in Boardman, Kevin Shiroki. So he heard of us, and they just welcomed us with open arms. They don't get much media coverage down there. They don't have TV stations that much down there. I mean, 27 will try to make it down there for a game or two. Actually, they did the game of the week last night up in Westminster. But I mean, they don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They should. So that's another reason why I thought, this is a great opportunity for us to go down there, not only to help them and get them some recognition, but I mean, just to spotlight these children again for another 4 years. So it's been great. I mean, they welcomed us with open arms. Nico and I both. It's either vice versa. We're both there, or one's there and I'm on the road with who's ever on the road, because neither team normally plays during the week, both at home. They both split up. One's on the road, one's at home. So I always go on the road. Mm-hmm. And the thing I love it the most about Westminster, because there's a completely different divisions, obviously D3 and D1. So when you look at Westminster, these coaches, Tony, they come up to us after the game, win or loss, because they know we want an interview or we know we want a player interview. And you don't get that much, whether that's high school, college, or in the professionals. And I have so much respect for Kevin Soroki and Rosanna Scott from Westminster, and for allowing us, allowing two strangers over the summer to come in and cover our university and cover the kids and put a spotlight on them. It's just tremendous. And also, I forgot, but Coach Benzel, the head football coach of Westminster, I didn't know who he was 4 months ago. He didn't know who I was. We met in a small office meeting room back at the end of July, and just build that chemistry day by day. And, we talk every day now. So it's been a warm opening arms with the Westminster Titans, for sure.
Awesome. And I know you guys are really close to the PA border, because I know I've seen some highlights about some schools like Farrell and Grove City and Hickory. Have you guys thought about expanding your coverage to like that Western PA market?
Yeah, Tony, we thought about it, but there's just so much going on right now. There's just so much. I'll say this, if we had 10 more guys, I should say no, because that would be 10 more high school games that we could figure out what to do or something, or even start broadcasting games live, which I've wanted something to do. I've always wanted to do that in life, but there just wasn't an opportunity for us right now. But now I would say probably not. They get a lot of coverage down there. I know a lot of local guys that are on that side of the border that cover those kids excellent. And that's like you asking one of them if they're going to come in Ohio and start covering. So I think, they get what we give here on the borderline. So I think no. The answer is no to your question. I don't think we're going to merge over there.
Gotcha. And when you talk about like one of the most memorable, like I know pre-pandemic South Range caught fire and went to states and won it all. Did you guys get a chance to cover South Range during that time frame in 2019?
Yeah. I mean, we got to cover them. Man, that was 4 years ago. Yeah, I mean, we cover every state championship team that's locally. Big shout out to Tim Stride over the OHSAA. He deals with the media. I mean, he didn't know us at all, but luckily, I forget. I think it was GFK, the first ever team to make it down to state once Malutic Live was officially an organization. I think it was GFK. Their AD back at that time, I think, is still the same AD now, if I'm mistaken. Al Gregos helped us and talked to Tim about us and mentioned who we were and what we were and what we did. So I want to thank Al for that, and definitely putting a good award in for us from the OHSAA. And we've never had a problem since then. But yeah, I would say I think it was JFK state championship run that we were a part of first before it was the South Range thing.
Gotcha. And how did the pandemic shake things up? Because I know there were a couple of area schools that went deep. Like you had coverage with Waterloo when they were on their way to the regional final. You had West Branch, who was about to play their state semifinal game. How did that end up shaking things up?
Well, Tony, I said this a few weeks ago, and I never thought I was going to say it again. You always wake up in the morning and you don't know what's going to happen. You, as a reporter, tomorrow I have nothing on the schedule, but something can automatically, fastly come up, and that happened last week with Ron Masella, an area coach that coached in this area 50 years, passed away. So, Nico, who's the camera guy for us, and I went out and we got a video of him. We got a video of players, former players that coached, that played under him, and, did a nice article on that. But, being down in Columbus with the West Branch team and looking at Walter Sheard's face and watching these kids get told the news, that was a heartbreaker. That was a tough story to do, and some tough interviews I had to conduct. And that was not like it's just in Canton. It's just not in Cleveland. That's all the way in Columbus. And to get the news and then have to drive all the way back 3.5 hours with no game was really, really heartbreaking. And, I still talk to some former players today. Peyton Always, she goes to, I think, Pitt Johnston now. She's having an incredible college career. She was on that senior team, and, she put on that jersey hoping to win a state championship. And, her last win was in the state semis because they just never got to play it. So I felt bad. Obviously Cheney and Waterloo boys were still in the regionals. It sucks. Obviously, a heartbreaker for them, but my heart's definitely with West Branch on that one. That was just tough to see, just being down there and having to cover it. And I think that was my second year in working in the media. You just never expected that.
Wow. And how did and I know when football resumed, you guys had basically had to jumble around. Did you guys have to jumble around game coverage because sometimes some games would be postponed, some possibly get canceled? How did you guys work through that, especially with the pandemic, with the football season starting in 2020, but still having those restrictions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all the guys that went out to do football interviews, I told them, take a mask with you. If the coach says you don't have to, because here's the thing with my guys were not, they were not strict on the mask. If they didn't have to wear it, they were not going to wear it. If they had to, they have to. But, obviously they didn't want to. They said, if the coaches, told them if the coaches make you, wear it. If they don't, then you don't have to. But whatever the coach prefers, whatever the school district prefers, do it. Then that was during the interviews.
Gotcha.
And when the game started, if there was a game that got canceled, I would look to see, what game it was, because obviously every Friday night we have every game covered in the area when it comes to high school football. So if I saw there was maybe another big game on the docket, I'll have two guys go to that game, or I'll have someone stay back with me at the HQ, because Jay and I always stay back. Whether it's editing videos, photos, scores coming in like crazy. So there's like 3 or 4 of us that stay back on a Friday night. So sometimes maybe I'll have them stay back as well, make the night a lot easier for us, or I'll send 2-3 guys on the game by themselves all together if it's a big game. So it just depends on what game it was and what was going on that night.
Gotcha. And I know also in 2020, JFK had their run during the state finals, New Milltown Springfield with Bo Brungard, who's now at Youngstown State. How did that work, especially with the state finals? I think they were in Massillon. They were going to be down in Columbus, but they got moved to Massillon. So how did all that work with the masks and the county being level 4?
Well, it didn't work because I got charged for a hotel that I never got to sleep in Columbus. So we can start with that I ordered a hotel in Columbus on Thursday morning. And then Thursday afternoon, I remember where I was. I was at Chick-fil-A with actually my girlfriend. And we're sitting there, and my phone's going crazy. And I try not to look at it, during lunch at least. And it just going off and off and off. I'm like, something's going on. I know there was talks about moving the games somewhere closer, but I'm like, there's no way they're doing it on a Thursday. The games, I think whether it was Saturday or Sunday, the game. And I checked my phone, and I tell you what, people were on social media like crazy because everyone booked a hotel for Springfield fans or for JFK fans going down there. So, I was able to get a half of a refund back, but I think that was the biggest beef. But yeah, obviously I'm not complaining about the drive because going to Maston's a lot easier for us than going all the way down to Columbus. And I said this to Jay back that, and I'm like, you know what? It sucked because I would love to cover a game at Ohio State. That was, I've always wanted a dream like that. And he said, you're going to get that in a few years because Youngstown State is going there. So, and that's actually happening next football season. So that's definitely something to look forward to. But it was tough. We had to wear masks. I think it was JFK playing a day game, and then Springford played the night game. Springford actually played Sunday night. I remember that because the Browns and Eagles were playing in Cleveland, and didn't go to the game. We watched it at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in the media room upstairs. But it was tough because they limited media, and it was up to the ADs of which media they wanted there. And we were chosen to be one of the top three with both news stations, obviously 21, 27. We were the third one to be on both their lists. So that was just nice to see that they really wanted us there, and, to give out the best coverage, try to give out the best coverage in the area and in the game in general. So that was just something nice to see. But yeah, I mean, it was tough, but we got through it. And something during COVID that, because what are you supposed to do? There's nothing you could do. The whole baseball season was canceled, actually, Tony, for spring. So what we did was I lined up each night a former high school player that's in college right now playing a sport. We brought him on, and we did a Zoom interview with them, and then we typed up an article that night. So I picked out, 2 players a night. Each guy had to do one a week at least, and that's how we got through the COVID spring season.
Oh yeah, that helped on our side with Keon Sports. We did players. I know Vince did Southwest Conference players. I did people I knew, East Side players. I even did a professional athlete before the football season. It was fun, but it definitely did help, especially with no sports till at least late August and not knowing whether or not there'd even be a season until 10 days prior.
Yeah.
And talk about 2020. A couple years ago, you guys were down there for JFK's run to the state championship, and that was talk me through that from your perspective. This was a JFK squad that had 11 players, 1 senior, and the majority of the team was underclassmen.
This is baseball, Tony, or football?
This is baseball.
So this would have been Cam Holloway's senior year, correct?
Yes.
Or was this the year after he got? Okay, so this was his senior year. Yeah, I mean that was crazy as well. I think that game was in Akron, if I'm mistaken. I don't recall that game much. I just know it was a hot summer day, and I think it was a Sunday because the game was supposed to be Saturday and got rained out or something went on, and the game got moved to Sunday. That's all I remember. And JFK winning that game, and honestly, there's so much that happens that it's hard to even talk about that game from, a year and a half, 2 years ago. But all I remember was, obviously JFK winning and got to do some nice interviews afterwards.
Gotcha. And how big has your staff expanded since I believe it was you, Jay, Nico? How big is the staff expanded since then?
Yeah, I mean, so on a regular basis, on a football night, obviously, there's nothing going on throughout the week besides our game of the week. So during football season, we just, some guys have their full-time jobs and only come in on Fridays and Saturdays to cover football for us. So it just depends on how many games we have going on that whole weekend. And just ask guys from there. Some nights we'll have dads that, say, hey, I'm a parent from the United football team. I want to help you guys this season. So give me all United. So automatically, we cross that off and then we just go from there. And during basketball season, we try, because it's hard during basketball. You can't get everyone besides me and Nico to work every night. Nico took tonight off, obviously, but he's been, we've been going 7 days every day and during the week, as long as there's games on Sundays. And we have probably about 5 or 6 guys that work at night basketball. We have one guy that's back here at the not I'm at my home office, but at the office in Struthers, dialing in scores. If anyone scores 1,000, he has videos and photos edited. We'll send in to him. I normally go out. Last season during basketball, I stayed back the whole season, but this year I thought, you know what, I need to get out more and see these coaches and have them see me face to face and see that I'm out and doing our job and whatnot. So we changed things up a little bit this year. Jay actually staying back, and I've gone out more, and it's been fun. But yeah, I mean, this Saturday I think we have 24 games, whether it's boys, girls, or college wise, and we have 22 of them covered out of the 24.
Oh,
A couple of us doing a couple games and throughout the day because they're all day.
gotcha.
But yeah, we'll get them covered though.
Yeah. How do you work that balance between like your normal job and doing this? Because I know that's got to be a lot working 7 days a week, even when you have a staff of people who cover games 1 2 days.
It is, yeah, absolutely. Well, my full-time job actually is I'm a landlord. I have my own business there as well. So technically I have 2 businesses. So I can not say I can do whatever I want, but I'm at a position where if I have to go here, I'll go there. If I have to go here, I'll go there, and then vice versa. So basically, I'm managing it pretty well. There's no complaints. I do most of my work in the summer when it comes to landlord stuff because there's no sports going on besides the scrappers who we cover, and one of our assistant managers, Tim Corso, does most of the scrappers games throughout the week, anyways, when they're home. So I rarely get to see them, but we make it work. There's really no complaints. If I know like next Wednesday, prime example, there's a Badger and Wyndham are doing a boys girls doubleheader in the morning for all the kids that normally don't come to these games from Wyndham and Badger to see all this. So like, I already have that on my pencil in my paper on my calendar that I'm going to be at that game. So just stuff like that. Just, a calendar helps. But I got a great staff. If I have to cancel or go somewhere else, Nico, Jay, they'll go to where I was supposed to go for sports wise, but we make it work.
Gotcha. And I understand you guys, you've also appeared on the Mike Bono show, Ride Home Rants, and with Johnny Falcone. How did that deal come together? Getting to meet some of those guys in the media, and how did that shape you guys as Malutic Live continued with the business it's in now?
Yeah, well, John Falcone actually used to be a lunch monitor at high school when I was at Lowell. So that's how I first met him. And John and I actually got in a huge fight back my junior year because they lost a football game, and I know he's gonna be watching this. He's gonna kill me. They lost a football game 70-0. And that Monday morning when we came back to school, obviously I didn't play football, so I gave my expertise and my opinions, and nothing was obviously nice. And I said some things that probably I shouldn't have said that I look back now and we all laugh about it, but we got into it and we didn't talk the rest of his career at Lowell. And, and he's another one that's seen where we grew from that year to 2.5 years ago when he reached back out to me. And, we went out for a drink and some food and just talked and built that chemistry and friendship back up. And we just started off from there. And I didn't know Bono to probably a month before you did, Tony, when they invited me on the show. I don't know what I was getting in myself to, but I said, absolutely, I'd love to join. And, don't get to talk to Bono that much because, obviously we don't live around each other, but just a great guy. And obviously Johnny, a great guy as well. So.
Gotcha. And I know you did the football previews on every Friday night during the season, especially during the playoffs and the occasional Sunday. What are the future plans for Malutic Live? Are you guys going to start a podcast down the line, get some guests on, kind of like, I know how you do Facebook, but like something on Spotify or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, Bob Gavalier, who I have to give a big shout out to. I know you know him, Tony. He does shows with us. I actually just ran into Bob last Thursday at Wing Night. at Buffalo Wild Wings, which we're going tonight later. But talking to Bob, I know he'll be back for next football season. But we come on every Friday 3 to 4. We go on and we just talk about all the games. And then I do our wrap up show every Friday night following the games. I'm thinking around 10:30, 11 with Nico in the office, and we just run down the scores, just talk about the games and give our opinions on it. And then Bob and I right back Saturday morning doing it, Sunday morning doing it. But honestly, Tony, during football season, we get a lot of views. People want to know what's going on. But after that, it kind of dies down because then you get that holiday, it seems like almost with Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's. And I don't know. It's just we don't get the views that much throughout basketball. And it's hard to do a show during basketball season, during the evenings because I'm always at games myself.
Gotcha.
So we thought, bring it back here and there once in a while. I know we're trying to go to the Guardians Media Day this year. That's something we've never been able to do. So I'm hoping we're able to get in there. And I'm sure, we'll have shows leading up to the Guardians season. We've had shows leading up to the Cavs season. But I'm sure we'll definitely be having some games or shows leading up to the Guardians start of the season here in a few months.
Gotcha. And I've got 3 questions for you before we conclude tonight. I think I got to thank Johnny Falcone for the idea because I know he does his Fast 55. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. First question, Pepsi or Coca-Cola?
Man, Pepsi. People might call me weird, but I drink one pop a day, and that's in the morning. When I get up, obviously I'll eat something, get a shower, and get out the door. I'll stop and get a nice Pepsi or something, but start my day. But after that, it's all water or milk or something better for you. But Pepsi every morning to start my day, I have to, or else it's just a bad day.
Gotcha. The Rock or John Cena, best wrestler turned actor?
John Cena.
Oh, gotcha. I think you're the first person I know that's actually said John Cena. Usually people say The Rock.
I'm not big on wrestling or boxing or any of that, so but I just went with him. But yeah, I'm not a big guy on that kind of a sport.
Gotcha. One more question for you. Orlando, Florida, or Charleston, South Carolina, if you had to live in one city for a year?
I'd go Florida.
Okay. Got it. Hey, Austin, thank you for hopping on board and talking to us tonight. And if you've got any last words or any advice or something like that, floor is yours.
No, Tony, I just really appreciate you allowing me to come on tonight. Really appreciate you, coming on the shows with us, doing shows with us here and there. Obviously, you did one with us at Southeast. You were with us throughout the playoffs, just talking about all the games, helping us a lot with these teams that we might not know of up your way that you know of. Just really appreciate the friendship we built. I know you're even in our group chat at times, and you chime in like once every other week, and it's like the randomest times ever too. We love it. Everyone loves it. I know Johnny gets a kick out of it. And yeah, it's hilarious. But we really do appreciate you. We love you here at the office, and hopefully our friendships continue down the road.
Absolutely, Austin. The feeling is mutual. Thanks to you guys, I've learned more about Valley teams than I thought I'd ever know. So
yeah,
thank you for coming on, and we'll definitely be talking.
Tony, appreciate it as always.